What's up everyone on the internet? Thank you for making this video part. I'm so excited to upload this one for you guys because Disney Plus has uploaded the 7th episode of the final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and today we'll be taking a look at episode 7, Dangerous Debt. So episode 7 picks up right where we left off on last week's episode, where we find Ahsoka and the Martez sisters locked up in a holding cell, and right from the get-go, we soon find out why the two sisters don't trust Jedi. And without giving away any spoilers, Trace and Rafa's past actually ties in with a key moment that happened in one of the early seasons of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Not only that, but Rafa also talks about the Jedi she met, which then forces her and Trace to only rely on each other and soon see the Jedi as corrupt military generals. And after the two sisters tell her story, you suddenly realize that while we love watching the Jedi go on adventures, take down the bad guys before leaving off on another adventure, we also forget about the collateral damage they have left behind. And I love how this episode focuses on how these moments affect regular people after the Jedi have left. In a way, this episode reminded me a lot about how in Captain America: Civil War, where Baron Zemo had a grudge against the Avengers because at the end of Age of Ultron, after his town was destroyed, instead of coming back to clean up the mess, the Avengers went home, and it soon forced this guy to go down a very dark path that would lead him to tear the Avengers apart in Captain America: Civil War. Another thing I also liked about this episode was the action. While I am enjoying this Ahsoka arc, I will say that the action in these past few episodes has been a bit dull. With that being said, the action in this episode is a big improvement to this story arc. Not only do we get to see Ahsoka take out a few gangsters, but we also get to see Trace and Rafa fight their way out in this episode. Also, I really found it funny how in some moments Rafa would either quickly doubt Ahsoka or was ready to throw her under the bus. However, while I enjoyed the action in this episode, I will say that while Ahsoka uses the Force quite often in this episode, the Martez sisters are really stupid when it comes to noticing these things. There would be moments where the trio would be in a tight spot, and behind their backs, Ahsoka would just use the Force to get them out of the situation, to which the girls would think they just got lucky. Honestly, how oblivious could these girls be? I mean, in The Hobbit, when Bilbo used the One Ring to save the dwarves throughout those movies, at least Gandalf was able to notice that Bilbo had a magic ring. I was expecting Ahsoka to tell the girls that she was once a Jedi, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait till next week. Which brings me to this conclusion. After watching this episode, it looks like that this Ahsoka story arc is gonna have a total of 4 episodes, which has me worried because that would mean that the Mandalore arc is going to finish off this series with just 4 episodes. And that has me worried because how are we supposed to cover the Siege of Mandalore and Order 66 in just 4 episodes? However, with that being said, after watching this episode, there is some foreshadowing that is eventually going to lead us into the Mandalore arc. So I'm going to be optimistic and say that probably next week's episode is going to be the transition from the Ahsoka arc to the Mandalore arc. I'm hoping I'm right because that would make this final story arc a lot more longer, which would give us more time to fit in the Siege of Mandalore and Order 66. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. That was my overall review for the 7th episode of the final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. If you like what you saw, click the subscribe button so you can always updates from this channel. I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye-bye.